Welcome to the BSHS Global Digital History of Science Festival. I hope you enjoy it. My name is Charlotte Slay and I'm the Vice President of the Society. BSHS is a worldwide society for anyone who is interested in the history of science. It's a registered charity and it has hundreds of members and supporters around the globe. The reason I'm thankful to BSHS is because it cuts right across universities' obsession with league tables and simply supports great scholarship. BSHS is an island of collegiality and supportiveness in what can feel like a ruthless sector. You're already part of the BSHS community by participating in our festival, and we're so pleased to have you here. If you'd like to make the connection a little more permanent, membership starts at just £24 a year. Or if you're just dropping in, you can say thanks to us with a small donation. Maybe what it would cost you to buy coffee for yourself and a colleague in your part of the world. That's about £5 for me. However you want to be part of it, just click through on the Thank You BSHS button on this festival event. Thank you, BSHS.
Easy to engage with speakers at the BSHS History of Science Festival. All you have to do is click the Ask a Question button and then press the orange tab. After that, you can go ahead and type in your query. Participants will be able to comment and upvote your question or topic suggestion. Please use the chat feature on the right for comments and to engage with participants. Thank you so much.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the BSHS Global History of Science Festival. My name is Lea Bayermann, and today I would like to introduce you to our session Introducing the MEDEA-CHART Database, an online tool for the study of medieval and early modern nautical charts. We have two speakers today who comprise this panel, Ricardo and Bruno Almeida. For everyone watching on Crowdcast, we encourage you to chat to each other in the box to the right of your screen. But if you have a question for our speakers, please use the Ask a Question button to make sure we see it. And so I would like to invite our two speakers to start the session. So I'm going to hand over to Ricardo and Bruno.
So, hello, good morning to everybody. Hello. I'm going to take out this mask. We look like robbers, bubbles, but I'm here today with Ricardo Vaz. He is actually the developer of the database that we are going to see in some minutes. And of course, we would like to start by thanking the BSHS for having us. And this opportunity to share some of our work in this festival. So thank you to the organizers also, and the opportunity to talk about the MEDEA-CHART database. Of course, the MEDEA-CHART database is in fact an output of a wider project, the MEDEA-CHART project. But why a database? Well, when we think of nautical cartography, what we are dealing with is with thousands of charts. So maps, atlases, all of that, it's a big corpus of knowledge. So it is only normal to wish for some order. And the MEDEA-CHART Database is to start a tool for our research. Well, of course, everything within a bigger project that I'm going to take you briefly to that project, resume a 5 years work and 200, more or less 200 years of history of cartography in about 10 minutes. So stick with me. Well, the MEDEA-CHART project is funded by the ERC. It's a project that started in 2017, is going to 2022, funded by the ERC and hosted by the Department of History and Philosophy of Science in the Lisbon University, the Faculty of Sciences. The objectives of this project are the study of medieval and early modern nautical objects cartographic heritage. Mainly the birth, evolution, and use of these objects. But what we propose, it's an interdisciplinary approach to this research. In fact, we combine traditional methods with new, more modern techniques, such as cartometric analysis, numerical modeling, and also non-invasive techniques. The PI of the project and let's say the mind behind this project is Joaquim Alves Gaspar. He's a very known researcher in the field. And currently our team is composed by 7 members. And we also have some external advices that, in the words of an American president, are the greatest in the world. And they are in fact some of the great researchers in the field. We also have a website that you can access here, and the project is divided, let's say roughly, in 2 fields: Portland charts and latitude charts. They of course share many common characteristics, but they also have specificities. When we talk about Portland charts, we talk about medieval cartography, starting roughly around 1200. And we're dealing with depictions of the Mediterranean, the Black Sea, and Atlantic coast. This coast of North Africa to the British Isles and Scandinavia. Not much. When we talk about latitude charts, we're talking about early modern cartography starting about 1450, and depictions of the known world. About Portland charts, well, very briefly, they are drawn on parchment, and the information that they have is based on knowledge gathered by navigators. And we are talking about directions, mainly magnetic directions, and travel distances. Here, we can see that the rhumb lines are representing directions. And here, down here, we have a league scale to represent the distances. We also see around the shores place names and very few information inside. So landmarks in the interior are very, very rare or just schematic. And we also see some political possessions represented. Looking now at latitude charts, we see roughly the same constituents of the Portland charts, but with some differences. They share innovations that are function of technical and practical differences in navigation. In fact, when navigators face new oceans with different and new characteristics, we're talking about atmospherical and oceanic regimes that were very different from the ones that they faced in the Mediterranean, well, they had to find new ways that were not the old practices, because those practices were not enough to find a position in the middle of the ocean, of course. So they introduced latitude readings, and it became a valuable help. With this, navigators had a new and helpful astronomical parameter to help to find their position. And we can see that here, that the charts now present latitude scales. This is the equinoxial, of course, this is the North Atlantic, South Atlantic, and the latitude scales. And these new methods also helped navigators to place, of course, new lands. All of this, the American continent, was placed and located with bases in these new techniques. So we are dealing here with sources that are very important for many aspects, of course, of the history of late medieval and early modern periods. We are talking from history of the art to history of mathematics, to history of navigation. These are very, very important sources. And for example, we can think that charts show us how Europe knew about new lands or about the geography of the Mediterranean area. But we are talking about the most accurate geographical information available. And very, very important, this information was gathered by artisans, practical people. Well, but although very visual, this cartographical tradition still has some obscure aspects. And these are some of the questions and the challenges that we face in our project. Of course, very briefly, we are dealing with challenges about when and where were the charts produced, when did they start, how were they constructed, how were they used, and this for both Portland and latitude charts. Well, as I mentioned before, one of the modern tools that we use here, and just to sum up this so important tool central to our research, well, we use cartometric analysis. We use Map Analyst, which is a program that compares old maps with modern maps and known positions of places common to both maps. Just briefly to use it, if I locate Portsmouth or Brighton in an old map, I just make a link with the modern position, and from here we construct a new grid of parallels and meridians. And these grids, their distortions and their characteristics allow us to study aspects such as the magnetic declination of the time in the Mediterranean. Also study and access the influence of the convergence of the meridians in the geometry of these charts. And of course, like here, we see this little bump and gives us some information about the possibility of stitching of different areas. This is Greece, and it's a possibility that here there's a gathering of information of the Aegean and the Adriatic, for example. Also, we have information about the different scales used in different areas, like, for instance, here in the Black Sea. So far, our activities have been divided roughly in these items. I've talked about our website that is available for your visit. You can visit us and find out about the news and all the novelties. We are also engaged, of course, in writing many papers, and these have been some of the results that so far we've achieved about the origin of Portland charts. In fact, we have an ongoing discussion with our panel of advisors, external advisors, about the origin of Portland charts. We've produced a paper about the Mercator projection, also very important, and a discussion, ongoing discussion about the importance of the geometry of nautical charts and the importance of knowing this. And of course, we are always dealing with case studies. We attend conferences like the one that we are happy to attend today. And we also organize a biannual workshop. Here is on the origin and evolution of Portland charts. We are organizing some books, mainly now texts about the nautical chart, texts from Portugal, Spain, and England, mainly. Scientific collaborations always happening, and science communication. We have here the output of this series of newspaper articles that we've produced. It's in Portuguese. And of course, our important tool, the database that I'm leaving now with Ricardo to explain a bit more about this.
All right. Thank you, Bruno. Okay, so to help in the study of the nautical charts, the objects of study that Bruno just mentioned, there are a couple of available resources, digital resources, and they are usually in the form of digital inventories. Well, they serve the purpose of index nautical charts, portolans, planispheres, and atlases, and they are usually censuses. We also have archives repositories, for instance, the BNF Gallica, it's one of them and well known, but let us focus on the censuses. Okay, so these censuses are usually maintained by researchers. They are usually maintained by one individual and in an independent way. We have a couple of references here, some well-known inventories that they are well established in the field and very useful and well known. For instance, we have Tony Campbell's inventory, Richard Fedler's that we are mentioning him, and we also want to thank him for letting us use his census to feed our system, our database. So these two inventories are available in digital form. And then we have also Ramon Pujadas, that it's a book with a CD-ROM. And finally, we have Corradino Astengo's inventory. Basically, this is not digital, but since it's an important item that can help in the study of the nautical charts, we've also included it, and it's available on paper and also as a book. Okay, so although these resources are all very valuable, and they have some obstacles regarding their use. For instance, data is very dispersed. When you want to find something, let's say a chart image, or you want to browse a listing, you need to know specifically where to get these things. And you know, in the case of chart images, you need to know the archive where the chart is stored, and go to their URL and find it chart by chart. Moreover, collaborative work is difficult, and this is regarding those census that are Excel spreadsheets, because usually they are maintained by their owners, so they are maintained independently, and updates rely basically on their owners, and this makes that the frequency of the updates may vary because it depends on the person's availability. It's perfectly normal. This also has another problem. Basically, it's the non-uniform processes for organizing content, because one author may choose a way to state that a date or let's say an author is inferred, and another author may use another style of writing. And when you're using multiple data sources, this may become a little bit confusing. Moreover, when you're using, for instance, an Excel spreadsheet, you have limited data navigation and visualization. Let's say that you want to have, for instance, a chart reproduction, or you want to use Google Maps to show a map coverage. That is just not possible with Excel, or it's really difficult. And when you're using this type of technology, you need to have the software installed, and you need to have the file with you. So this also has some access limitations. Okay. Taking into account all of these obstacles, we decided that we needed to build a new system, a database that is optimized for research and serves the purpose of an internal research tool, and also to be a public online repository that can be accessed by anyone. So the system organized existing information about nautical charts in a centralized way, so in one machine. It's continuously updated, and all the changes that are made in the system are available immediately for everyone. This through a modern and user-friendly interface to access all the data, and with a flexible access, since you only need an internet connection to access our system. All right, but what is the MEDEA-CHART database really? Well, it's basically a browser-based application that runs in your browser. It's designed with mainly open source technologies. So it's also multi-device compatible because the only thing you need is an internet connection and a browser. And most of the devices nowadays have a web browser. And it's a multi-contributor platform because there are several users inputting data into the system and managing it. We also take part of multiple technologies and integrate them in our system for enhanced data visualization. For instance, we use Google Maps to provide charts coverage. We use OpenSeaDragon, a tool to provide charts images visualization in high quality. And we also use data tables to provide the system's listings. You will have the opportunity to see all of this in action in a moment. All right, so very briefly, what's under the hood in our system? Basically, we have an architecture that is separated in three main tiers. First of all, the first one, we have the data tier. This is where all the data is stored in our system. It's where we run the database and persist the data records. Then we have the logic tier. This tier basically is a coordinator of all system operations. It's what talks to the database, retrieves the data, and sends it to all of the users that are accessing our system. It's also responsible for file storage. Basically, it stores all the charts digital reproductions we have in our system. And finally, we have the presentation tier. That it's what all users have access, it's the user interface, and it's the way of accessing the system by computers, tablets, or smartphones. Very well. Okay, so how did this all started? Okay, so we started with a roundtable discussion, me and the MEDEA team, and we sat down and decided what were the main features that the system needed to have to be a good system, to be useful. Then we needed to create a new database. So we started that, we created our own database, and we needed some data to work with and to start with. So we imported a pre-existing dataset we had on Microsoft Access, we processed it and imported it into our new created database. Then we needed something to manage the data and access it and view it. So we started to build the application that serves this purpose. And when the application was finished, we had the first test version of our system. What you see here in this red rectangular is a cycle of how we test things and basically develop new features, do some bug fixing, and do optimizations. The MEDEA team has a very important role in this cycle because they are the ones who test all the new features and ensure that everything is running as it's supposed to. Finally, when you reach a stable version, we upload it to our public server, the version that it's available for everyone, for all users. And also here, it's where the MEDEA team, using some data sources, let's say Richard Fedler's census or other data sources that are available, and use them to import the data into our online system. Okay, so now you might be wondering how we manage content in our system. Okay. We have two types of members. We have project members, the members of our team, and we have public members. The project members are responsible for managing all the content that we have in our system. They have a dedicated editor layout, and they are also responsible for managing the chart's digital reproductions. And then we have you, the public members. You have free access to all of our system, and you also have an important role. So, by saying this, I want to state that we encourage everyone to register, visit our system, and send the suggestions, corrections, or improvements to apply in everything that we have online. All right, enough of talking. Let's see the system live in action. We'll be using this URL we have here, so no tricks. What you'll see is what it's online for everyone. And yeah, let's get to it. Okay. So let me this is our login page. You need to set up an account. I already have one that it's free. And let's sign in. All right, we're in. So what you see here is basically our dashboard page. So we have four main entities in our system. We have charts, we have atlases, authors, and archives. Although charts and atlases are the most important ones. So below each card, you have the operations you can do with each entity. You can browse them or search them on the map for charts. And we also have this top and the left side navigation menu that it's always visible to ensure that you have some navigation tools and quick access through the system main pages. All right. One important thing that I want to say is that we have already put a lot of work into the system. As you can see, we have 2,435 chart entries created already, and there are 1,587 digital reproductions already available for you to see. Okay, so now let's browse all the charts we have in our system. Okay, so what you see here is a listing of all the charts that we have available. And this table is accomplished with the use of data tables. Data tables is a really good technology because although it's open source and it has one really important feature. Let's say, for instance, that you are accessing this system through a mobile phone. Data tables has a responsive layout. So what you're seeing here, it's the layout that you'll see using a mobile phone. So the table adapts, collapses all the entries, and this is perfectly browsable through a smartphone or a tablet. Although we know that mobile interfaces are always challenging, and we also have some bugs, and we are still improving them. What I want to say with this is that our system is already browsable through any device that you may want to use. Okay, so let's get back to our desktop view. Now, all of these columns that you see here, they are perfectly sortable. Let's say if you want to sort in an ascendant way the ID, you just click the column name or descendant, and it instantly sorts all the results. Let's get back to the original default. One more thing. All of these columns that you see here were carefully chosen for every user to identify the charts easily. This is because sometimes we have charts that belong to the same atlases, and all of these fields that you see here may become very similar. So what we've done was add a new column called Preview, and this column enables the user to see a quick tooltip as a preview to see which chart he's visualizing. So this helps in differentiating charts that have very similar entries. All right. Now, quick filters, very quickly. What we have here first is a search input. You can target any of the columns with a keyword or the columns individually, as you can see here. Then we have a production range search. You can insert two dates and search charts that were produced between those two dates. We'll give you an example in a moment. And then we also have these quick filters here. Now, let's do a quick search. Let's say that we only want charts with reproductions available, because since this is a live demo, we want eye-catching results to show you, and that's why we're going to enable this filter. Furthermore, we want to search for charts that were produced between 500 and 1505. Okay. Now let's target the production country column of the charts, and let's set it to Portugal. As you can see, while I was typing, the table updated immediately and you get your results in no time. So we have a new active selection here. We have, for instance, Continuo Planisphere or the Kunstmann 3 chart. And let's see Continuo Planisphere, for instance. Okay, now this is the chart profile page. As you can see, we have like the chart title. We have some digital reproductions and map coverage. We'll get them in a bit. We'll get to them in a bit. Then we have some details. This is basically metadata about the chart. Let's say, for instance, the common name, the description, some archive-related data, the conservation status, etc., etc. We also have in the bottom of the page a small box for notes. These notes are taken by our project members, our team, and they usually contain fun facts about the charts, additional information, let's say, and it's available for you to see also. Okay. You might be wondering why we have these little arrows here. They basically serve the purpose to go for the first, the previous, next, and the last chart of the listing we created before in Browse. So that data tables I've showed you before in the page before. So this basically enables a quick browse through the results. Okay, let us focus on map coverage. In map coverage, we use Google Maps. That it's a great tool. So what you see here is a blue rectangular, and we can also see it in full screen, that represents the chart coverage in a modern map representation. This is not the only thing Google Maps can do, and Bruno will tell more nice things about that we managed to do with Google Maps in a few minutes. And now let's see the digital reproductions. Okay, this panel here has all the available image to this chart. We have also a download section for you to download the images for free. And now, one important thing. We always take the source from where we take the images. Most of the times these are archives. And in this case, we don't have the URL of BSHS, but there is an important thing to say here. Usually archives, or we might not have the highest quality picture available of the charts. But sometimes if you follow the URL, you'll have the possibility to view the chart in a higher quality than the version compared to the version we have in our system. So sometimes this is very useful, and we always link the source of every image we have in our system. So regarding this reproduction, we can see that it's available in high quality. I guess it's our lucky day, huh? And let's see the reproduction. Let's go to the chart viewer page. So what we see here, it's OpenSeaDragon in action as the chart viewer. Let me put this in full screen. This is also an open source technology. It's used, it's very common between online archives page and museums. And what this enables is for us to see, let's say we want to find Lisbon, for instance. While we're zooming in, the quality increases every time we zoom until a certain point, of course. This is due to the image quality. And this tool is very flexible. Here is Lisbon, that you can see here. And now let's say that we want to read easily the place names. So we can rotate the chart by clicking this button, 90 degrees. There we go. And then the place names are easily readable. Okay, one last thing. Let me just rotate these 90 degrees again. You can also browse the chart with this little red rectangular if you have a big zoom applied. So this enables you to go quickly to every part of the chart. And yes, this is a very good quick navigation feature. All right, so let's get back to the home page, and Bruno will show more details about the system.
Well, for now, I'll just take on Ricardo's tour and show you a bit of the Atlas field, because it has one specific possibility of making a search through the nautical charts represented in atlases. So I will just make it here a quick search, let's say 1450 to 1480, okay? And I'm interested in knowing what atlases are available for these dates in, for instance, the British Library. And here I have a list of the available atlases. I'm going to choose this Gracioso Benincasa 1473 atlas to show you here in the map coverage, using, again, Google Maps, the possibility to navigate through every available chart in the atlas, which is a very nice feature and can locate immediately the user in the geographical area. Of course, we have all the metadata that Ricardo mentioned, and we can take a look, for instance, here, the chart in the United Kingdom, also high quality. I'm going to select and make it available here, and we immediately have access to this chart in the atlas. I'm going to rotate. There you have Iberian Peninsula, North part, France, and British Islands. So here, I leave the viewer. Everything is very straightforward. And again, as Ricardo mentioned, is very orientated for research. Also, we have here another feature that is original and also deals with Google Maps and the possibility to search determined geographical areas. For instance, if we are interested, let's say here, and this is actually a real search that a member of our team made some weeks ago. He was wondering about the evolution of the representation of the Magellan Strait, because now we are in the middle of the Magellan's travel, 1520, 1522, and he was wondering, well, how this, what was the history of the representation of this specific area of the globe? So what we can do is to move this rectangle very easily to that area and find out what we have. Oh, we have here a possibility to define specifically the latitude and longitude coverage, but we also have here a search type filter. This was again a conclusion that we as a team and the needs of our research, we came to this conclusion that it would be very interesting to have this possibility of search. So basically what we have here is the possibility to find charts that are all included in this selected area, and we can search for them. What we have is a list of 2 charts that are exactly inside this area. But we can also think of charts that intersect this selected area, this blue area. And we just search and find out that, yes, of course, as expected, we have many more entries, 115 now. But now let's just narrow this and think of charts that include inside of them the selected area. And we go ahead and search for them. We are expecting less entries, and in fact, we just get 46, and then the process is very similar to what Ricardo has shown. So with this, I guess we conclude our tour through the MEDEA-CHART database. Of course, we invite you to visit the database and explore for yourselves and by yourselves. But we also have some future work to do, right, Ricardo?
Yes, of course. We are always seeking to improve our system, and that's why we have a few topics here. We are already working on an advanced search feature, because now you can only do searches by entity. So what you've seen, it also applies for atlases, for authors or archives. But if you want to cross, like, let's say, fields between entities, that will be possible with the advanced search. We will also enable results to be exported to standard formats, let's say CSV, Excel, or PDF, if you want to import that data to your system or you want to work with it. And also introduce guest sessions, like have a way for people to visit our system with a more limited view, but in a way that they don't need to create an account, so they enter as a guest.
Yes, as it is, as you've seen, it's already a very, very good tool for research, but also for people that are just curious about this wonderful heritage. But we also welcome the idea of possible future collaborations. And we're talking about, of course, collaborations with archives, for instance, because this can be a very interesting tool for archives to contact between themselves and make it agile, the search and the sharing of this information. So again, I think that we finish here, and again, we invite you to join the database and drop us some line if you think that you have a contribution or a suggestion, anything, because in fact, this is collaborative work and it makes all the sense right now. Again, thank you very much for your the people that attend this session, the organizers, and take care in this challenging times. Thank you very much.
We are now ready to take all of your questions and answer them if possible, of course. Let me just stop sharing the screen. All right. So we have something here in the chat. Let's see, Bruno. The H project often involved the development of new techniques to answer existing questions. New questions or both. Do you want to answer this one?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the first question, of course, Adam. I think, well, of course, this is a very dynamic field, and we are doing everything that you mentioned. Are we generating new answers to old questions? Yes, of course, we try to generate new answers, and also, if possible, prove other answers. Because as I told, and as I said in the beginning of this presentation, this is a field of research, the history of cartography, that has a big tradition already, 200 years, more or less, of tradition. So we have lots of new questions, but
okay. They are asking
also, yes, another question?
No.
Yeah, but also we are providing some confirmations, if possible, with the use of all these tools that I've mentioned. Of course, being available online, this is also open, and now I speak about the database. It's open for researchers everywhere to think about new questions and promote their research also. Now I think we have...
Okay, so we have one more. This is like some sort of we can see it as a suggestion by Rebecca Higgett. So they say that are there ways to compare two historic charts on one page rather than an historic chart in Google Maps? So basically, currently, we don't have that, but that would be a nice improvement to compare two charts. That's something that's quite relatable to the tool that Bruno talked before, Map Analyst. But no, currently it's not possible, but we're going to point that down, and we are going to see if that's actually, it's a good suggestion. Yeah,
that's exactly the kind of suggestions that we are open to listen from you. And if it makes your own research better and quicker, of course, it's of our interest. Yeah.
Any more questions?
No, I think not. I don't know if we have any more.
There don't seem to be any questions at the moment. Maybe I can just jump in. I was just wondering, was it easy for you to approach archives and get access to the charts, basically? Because I mean, I know that some archives are reluctant to contribute to these projects.
You're talking about charts digital reproductions, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the developer's perspective, and then Bruno can also talk about the researcher perspective. So we have taken into account that some archives may not want us to share all the images we get from them. So what we do regarding that, it's basically we can hide those cases, those images of those charts. We can hide them from the public, and they're only visible for the team because archives ask us to do so. So this is like some sort of, it's not because the chart itself has copyrights, but the copyright is associated to the digitalization of the chart. But yes, we've thought of that, and we have that also into consideration.
Yes, of course that we only show available images because, well, the charts have no let's say rights or author rights. So what we do is contact directly, when we have digital reproduction, high quality digital reproductions, that those, yes, have some rights. So we contact every archive and ask for them to send us a chart, for instance, an image high resolution. We don't share that with the public, or if we do, we always inform the archive that we are going to do that. So you have access to lower quality reproductions that you can find online, of course, and available for everybody. I just have a note here about Joaquin. Joaquin is watching us. He's our PI. Yeah. And of course, he mentioned that, of course, it's possible to compare two charts if you have two pages open. That's not in the system, but it's a possibility, of course.
It's a
it's a possibility to go around this problem. And
no more comments, no more questions.
Okay, well, the audience thinks about more questions. I do have one more question, if you don't mind. I'm just interested in your collaboration, because I know that it can be hard if, I mean, if you're running a digital humanities project, you have to know about the humanities side of it, but you also have to know about the IT side of it. And it seems to me like you're a team, right? And I think, Bruno, you know about the history, and Ricardo, you know the IT, right? And I mean, how did that happen? How did you meet? How did you?
Well, in fact,
fun question.
This is a multidisciplinary team. So our members are coming from different backgrounds. My background, for instance, is in physics engineering, and then I moved to history of science. But our PI, for instance, is an engineer, but a hydrographic and a geographical engineer. So he has been teaching in navigation school. He's an officer, a Navy officer. So he knows also about the historical aspects, but also the technical aspects. And we were lucky to find Ricardo, who is a pure IT person. But we are able to talk, and because in a way we talk the same kind of language. And Ricardo is also very sensitive to these questions, and he's learning on the process, because he is with us for 1.5 to almost 2 years. I don't know. Yeah. So we've been learning a lot, and this is the quality of this project, because we are able to learn from different areas, and it's a multidisciplinary area. There's no way to look at it and to project a future for our research area, the history of cartography. Of course, we can keep doing the traditional research, which is very powerful also, but these techniques allow us to, I believe, project the future of this area. I don't know if Ricardo wants to say anything about it. But...
Well, I'm going to be honest. Bruno is lying a bit, because we needed a translator for 1 or 2 months to talk in the beginning, because they were using lots of historian terms, and I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. No, I'm just kidding.
Lots in translation.
But, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I finished my master thesis here at the faculty, and then this proposal came up. I have a specialization in information systems, and they proposed me to do this project, this information system, this database, and I thought it was really challenging, and I really enjoyed programming all this stuff, and I've learned a lot, and yes, it was a very rich experience, and yeah.
It's been great.
Yes.
Up till now, yeah.
Okay, so we seem to have 2 more questions. I'm going to tune out again.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So, hello. Thank you for this wonderful project. I am interested in the 17th century maps. Having not yet been onto the database, I was wondering, if you had maps from 1600 to 1700.
Yes, we already have some maps. Up to now, I think that we've covered a lot of, if not everything, but at least almost everything since 13th century, 14th century, then 15th, 16th century is also very, very populated. And now we are going to populate the database with information from the 17th century. Of course, our interest for now, and I'm just talking for now, I think it's not going too much further the 17th, 18th century and maps and charts and atlases that includes Mercator projection. I think as an historical database, I think we will stop about the middle of the 18th century, which actually is also the coverage of Richard Fedler's censuses that, again, we thank a lot for its existence. And Rebecca has just made another question. What is in place to ensure longevity of the project? Is there institutional grant funding for someone to maintain the site in long term? Well, this is a great question.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. And we have thought about it. Yes. We have thought about it. It's always very challenging to ensure that all the systems are still maintained and running throughout the years. We've used open source technologies for this because we don't have to pay the license, and the thing keeps running with fewer updates. Let's say. Yes, we still don't have an agreement to hire someone until the project is occurring. So until the end of the project, maybe I will be the one responsible for maintaining this database and ensure that it's online and functioning properly. But after that, yes, that will be a challenge. And it's not actually easy to ensure that we will have someone who has the knowledge of the code, the technologies, everything that it's behind all of this, to ensure that the system will still run after the project ends.
Yes, but of course the objective of this, that's all in the back of our mind, of course, all these questions. The objective is, I think it will go by establishing collaborations with some entity, either academic or not, to keep on working with the database.
So regarding one more last thing, I want to add to what Bruno said. Regarding the hosting, our faculty has a small data center and we have our machine there, and the machine it's maintained by them actually, and they provide us all the bandwidth, the energy, and so in terms of hosting we're fine, but then we need that specific person to do the maintenance of the system.
I think we have another question from Edward Collins. Hello, Edwards, how are you? Nice to see you here. To what extent have you encountered problems because of physical degradation of maps? Well, up to now, we're not dealing directly with the images. Oh, that is, we are not getting the images. The team doesn't provide the images. We contact the archives and they provide us images. Yes, we have some local collaborations, very important collaborations, but we don't deal with the physical map, and we just let's say inherit the problems that already exist in this kind of images.
Okay, so one last question, and then
you have here an anonymous.
Yes, what were the biggest challenges in the implementation of this database? Well, in terms of the developer perspective, I didn't know most of the technologies I've worked with. So we've used Node.js. This is a framework basically to write stuff that runs on a server to receive requests. So I've learned a lot implementing this system. And one of the things I hate the most, and the team is always, I won't say making fun, but they know I don't like it. It's to make user interfaces, because I'm not a designer, I'm a developer. And that was also a very challenging thing to do. So come up with this simple and clean design. But I think we've managed to do it. And yes, this was also one of the main challenges implementing this project.
So I think that's it.
Thank you for all of your questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Please visit us.
Thank you to you too, to our audience, for joining us today, and to our speakers for giving up their time and sharing their research. If you've enjoyed this event, please consider becoming a member of BSHS, or consider giving a donation in order to sustain similar events via the Thank You BSHS button below. Stay safe and take care. We hope to see you at a BSHS event again soon. Thank you and goodbye.